coming.
No.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Shingo
meet
just
you.
went. Oh, movie. Eiga-kan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, anytime.
Yeah. Cool. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I won.
You won.
We have with us from Aqua Mantra, Noah Mizuno and Shingo.The. From Generations, we have Crystal Thornburg Homcy and Naya Homcy. And lastly, we're so excited from Hono, we have Ben Ono, director. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you for making the amazing films that were part of our lineup. I think I just want to start off because you guys have such, I think each film was really a partnership between surfer and musician or director. I kind of want to start by asking, how did you guys get together to create these films? Let's start with Crystal here.
Thank you. A few years ago, I was asked by the crew from CS Swimsuits if I would be willing to help out with their Hawaii production here for their upcoming campaign a few years ago. And of course I said yes. I thought, I'd help you create the cast and help just along with production. And then they were like, well, do you and I want to be in it? And I said, I don't know, you gotta ask Naya.
What did you say, Naya? No.
He said, of course. As long as we get to body surf together,
Oh
right?
my God, yeah. That's awesome.
So it's fun because we have, growing up in a household of father cinematographer, and I dabble in the film making sometimes.
Filmmakers, yes.
She's, kind of been used to living around cameras, so it was fairly easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was such a quick cameo, but it was fun.
On to Ben, how did you and Hono get together to create that really amazingly beautiful short that we saw?
Yeah, Hono's such a great surfer that I think all I really needed to do was be there, and she would do the rest of the work for me. So it was really special, not only highlighting women's longboarding, but just taking it to the next level and trying to do it a little bit differently than something I've seen before. So,
Great work.
Thank you.
And then that was such a creative collaboration with musical artist and surfer. And then I know Cole isn't here today, director, but how did you guys create that film?
Well, the last scene I kind of described how we met through the community and Jake and just being around. And for me, I just invited them to my studio. I didn't expect to be in the film really. So even all the footage that ended up there, just candid footage of me just kind of walking through what I do. So I was kind of shy about it, but pleasantly surprised that I was actually in the film and not just providing the soundtrack for it. And I let Noah and Cole really choose what kind of beats that they wanted. I just gave them a bunch of music that they could potentially use, and they kind of took it from there.
Yeah, how did you and Cole kind of put the story together for that?
So Cole originally didn't go on that trip that was shot on location, but I had all the footage, and I didn't really just want to make a, normal surf movie, so I tried to get creative, and I met Shingo, and so Cole and I talked about it, and yeah, we just decided to collaborate with him and, spend a few days in the studio. I think we just kind of wanted to, we kind of wanted to focus on the importance of soundtrack in movies and short films, because, there is a lot of thinking that goes behind picking which soundtrack is good for, what type of surfing or etc. So we kind of just wanted to show the importance of that.
It's been a pleasure for me, having curated this program for 4 years now, just to see the evolution of surf films going beyond the usual just surf waves over and over with some music. But music is becoming such a big part of surf films I've seen, and also, I've always felt like surfers are some of the most creative people in the world, and I think some people don't expect that, but to see that coming into the film genre is really great. what was kind of like the creative drive behind each of your films? I know, Crystal, you were mainly a cameo and star of the film, but...
Yeah, like I said earlier, I kind of just helped facilitate bringing the crew together with the cast and helped with locations. And last minute, they just asked me to be part of the film in front of the lens, which was really sweet to include us. But yeah, I think just having the creative direction of the crew. I mean, everyone has such beautiful style, and I like the documentary approach of the film generations, because sometimes I feel like, you know, films can go on for a long time, which is beautiful to see waves, but I love to hear backstory about the characters and how what the sea means to them.
You know, for us it was more of just a passion project. So my co-director, Nash Howe, he couldn't be here today. He lives in California. But for us, we had very limited time. So Honolulu always being on tour, we only filmed it in 2.5 days. So we kind of just picked the days that we saw the swell was going to be the biggest, and we're like, all right, we're out there. We're just going to do this. We're going to try to get whatever we can. And creatively, we didn't really have a mindset going in. We didn't have anyone sponsor it. And I think that kind of like really set us free. Because we went out and we just sort of like, all right, this looks cool. Like, oh no, put your face on the ground. Like, try this. And she's like, all right, I'll do it. Like, that's fine. And so it came together in the end. And I'm just really stoked that it got the feedback that it did.
I've always been interested in music production, and it was such an awesome gateway to have Shingo because, you know, he has his studio like right down the block from our shop. So I got to meet him, and then, you know, we got to talk about like the soundtrack he made for a movie I used to watch when I was a kid, and, you know, that inspired me. So, and then now it's kind of like my interest for music is growing, and so I'm obviously like interested to see how it's made, and, you know, so that's kind of my creative, and then I just put my surfing to, I guess, which is my art.
I think in the film it looked like you were kind of scoring to footage. Was that your process?
Yeah, so I had a lot of drafts because hip hop, well, most of the pieces I ended up showing them were created from samples. They're basically sound collages, but they're so-called loops that can be turned into songs with more of a sequence that you add things on top of it, or sometimes you subtract or chop it up. And that's just the beauty of hip hop, that you can't do that legalities aside. And I've been doing that for a while, so it's definitely awesome that I can contribute in that way, and I appreciate the fact that his generation still likes to listen to beat-driven, you know, instrumental music, and even rap included. And me personally, I definitely have a great deal of respect for athletes and surfers such as Noah who take it to that level of surfing. You know, for me, even when our song ended up on Clay Marzo's clip, it was like surreal, like unreal what they do. You know, I can't relate to that level of performance. I'm just a casual surfer, you know. But also, I respect them, and for them respecting nature as well, because surfing is just so influenced by the climate and the season and the tide, and I didn't fully understand that until I attempted. You know, watching and doing is very different.
Very different.
Yeah, but I really have respect, and I don't get tired of watching.
Audience, any questions from the audience? Oh, Kyle, yes.
Almost all the surf films that we see, really 90% of the film uses slow motion. And it was really different to see this film with Shingo and Noah, which shows really the speed involved in surfing. And so your attempt to match the surfing with the speed of the music. You know, everything else that everyone else does is kind of dainty and slow and ethereal and
Deliberately paced.
Yeah, but this was really different. So I wonder if you can comment on that aspect of it. Who chose to show it at really at normal speed?
Well, I mean, Cole, the director, definitely did a good job. But not to go against what you said, but the first song that we used, be primarily made by an Indonesian producer, a friend of mine named Mr. Prox. That was very slow and ethereal, and that's the one that I used the dub machine a lot, and that had some goblin type sounds, and that had slow motion footage that matched really well. But the rest of it, as you said, yeah, it's got more of a faster tempo, and Noah's known for speed. So I think it matched really well.
What he did was he gave us a folder of, you know, what he kind of thought was gonna match the music. And then so the director Cole and I, we kind of scrolled through the whole folder, and so we kind of, I guess, picked like which was gonna match, you know. So the first one was a little slower beat, and so we kind of matched that with the beauty of the location and, like, you know, I guess the motion of the footage. So, and then the rest kind of was like more fast paced. So it's kind of like, you know.
So really, you
choose.
you edited the film more to the music than the music to the film. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like it was a balance. It was like a 50-50, I feel like, because we did pick the music for the surfing, but then he went back and then he did his own, you know, edits to the music.
Yeah, and also, like I said, I never expected to be in the film either, but people tell me that because they see the studio footage and the equipment being used, they pay a little bit more attention to the music happening as well as watching him rip. So I think it just yielded a very interesting result, you know?
Ben, so you said that you have a co-director who's not here. How did it work with, like, I guess, dividing each of your roles in, like, both filming and editing? Like, what did you do? What did he do?
My buddy Nash Howe, he co-directed it, and he also actually made all the music for the film. So it was kind of funny. The scene was, I wish we got more behind the scenes, but it was basically us in my little studio, and he's just like making this whole soundtrack on his laptop, like just his laptop, and his like headphones, and like only one side works. So like you kind of had to like keep switching it back and forth, and it was really janky. But I think for the most part, we tried to split it. A lot of stuff, I think it was the second day, he like got a really gnarly cut on his foot. So it was like, right, you're shooting from land, like there's nothing you can do. So he was stuck just shooting from the land, and that's kind of like how he did it. And I shot from the water for most of it. And as far as through the editing process, we kind of just went back and forth, and like I'd make the final edit, and then he'd make a revision, and it'd just go back and forth. And I think, I don't know, it's kind of cool co-directing a film, because you can always, I think if you vibe well with that person, your mutual product is going to be a lot greater than if it was just yourself. Because you get that feedback, and if it's with someone you trust, they can be like, nah, I don't like that, or that's really cool, let's keep that in. And so for us, it was really back and forth. Like I'd do a revision, he would do a revision. Like he did all the music, which was amazing, just like on his laptop. And then, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have a question to both of you guys. Like, obviously, all the films were top notch in terms of quality. Like, was there anything on the technical side that you felt like you had a breakthrough in terms of producing the right resolution or the texture that you wanted, or the color?
Well, I wasn't part of post-production, so I'm not sure exactly what inspired them or what challenges they faced. But I do know they shot on the red, and I'm sure that's always challenging, going to the beach and then, you know, getting a bunch of gear, getting a bunch of shots, and then having to drive back to your base camp to like download the cards, and that alone is just like mind-boggling and challenging. And
Red cameras are awesome.
And then like regrouping. Okay, we got all the footage downloaded. Like, let's get back to the beach and do it again. And
right.
So I think I don't want to speak too much on behalf of the crew, the actual filmmakers, but just from my experience working with those cameras, it can be beautiful and tricky at the same time.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked that. So part of the rough cuts that we had is Hono did a lot of amazing surfing that never made the film. And part of the reason was because when we filmed it, it was pumping North Shore and everyone was out. So a lot of those scenes, there was like 40 other people in the water. And so a lot of it was having that really big resolution. We could cut into just your feet or just the movement of just the wave in the water. So for us, it was a necessity to have that latitude.
Did you shoot like 4K or?
It was 5K, 60 and 120, yeah. And so And we, yeah, it was just for us, we just wanted to have that sort of feeling of just her out in the break. So for us, it was a necessity to have that.
I think that's the reason why, you know, we feel like even in short form, these films belong in a film festival and deserve to be seen on a big screen, because so that you can appreciate all that work that was put into it visually as well as musically, and that's really an important factor in selecting films as well. Just to wrap things up, what's next for you guys? I'm really excited to hear like what you guys are up to next.
I helped co-curate this year's Surf Film Festival here at the Doris Duke Theater, so that's what's going on presently. So Sarah and I have been having a great time watching, how many films? 50 or 60 films?
Over, more than that. Yeah.
So we've been watching all these amazing shorts and feature films, and I'm super honored to be part of the festival again this year.
We're honored to
And
have
I've watched a couple as well, and in the works, have a few tricks film project ideas up our sleeves. And she's starting school full-time in August, kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
So our surf time won't be as much in the morning, but definitely in the afternoons after school we'll be hitting the waves together.
I wouldn't claim myself as a filmmaker. I made this in January, and I was like, all right, I can make one maybe in a couple years.
well, I mean, we're gonna definitely look forward to the next one you do.
Yeah, beautiful job. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think what's important is we all have, you know, our other interests too, you know, that we can, our other creative outlets. So, you know, hopefully for Shingo, you know, he's an amazing resin worker, engineer. He's got way more than just music. So, I don't know what's next for you, and then for me, I just, keep surfing, having fun, and, you know, get into music a little more. Hopefully I'll be producing in the next few years, we'll see, but I don't know.
This show in Washington, D.C. have a sort of like a similar panel and a performance based around hip-hop and anime and samurai history. So I'm fortunate, you know, I spent over 20 years in California. That's where I learned my hip-hop, where I earned my hip-hop bachelor's on the streets of Telegraph Avenue. But, you know, I've had a lot of great mentors throughout the years. That's what kind of got me here, and also grew up in Tanzania, so I love the ocean. That's what led me to come to Hawaii about 5 years ago. So, I mean, no plan is the best plan for me, really. I just try to keep my studio door open, and every day is really almost like that. Somebody comes in and we make stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm very glad to be here.
I mean, thank you all so much for being here and for making these incredible films. For everyone here, please remember to vote for any of the films you might like. The ballots are outside. And but thank you all so much for coming, and thank you guys for being here.